Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Cuyahoga County Public Safety and Justice Affairs Committee meeting this Tuesday, June 25th. Roll call, please.
And just as a reminder to all who are in attendance, this meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the county's YouTube page. Calling the roll, Mr. Gallagher.
Here.
Ms. Conwell.
Present.
Mr. Byrne. Mr. Byrne is absent at the moment. Mr. Kelly.
Here.
Ms. Simon. Simon is absent at the moment. There is a quorum.
Public comment?
No, Mr. Chair, no one is signed in.
In your packets, we have the minutes of their June 11th meeting. If they're in order, I'll accept the motion in a second. So moved. All in favor? Aye. Against? Thank you. 2024-0241.
Resolution number 2024-0241, making an award to the Metro Health System in the amount not to exceed $1,080,000 for reimbursements of off-site medical services for inmates.
Good afternoon. Chris Costin, Sheriff's Department. Before you is a request for a not-to-exceed purchase order in the amount of $1,080,000 for the inmates' off-site medical services payable to Metro Health. This term of this PO is from May 9th, 2024 through January 31st, 2025. Again, these are for the off-site medical services that are performed at a Metro Health main campus or satellite office. Brief history on this purchase order. For off-sites, in 2022, off-site expenses were $1,370,000. 2023, it was $1,439,000, and 2024 projections just over $1.5 million. Thank you.
Questions?
Just
Yes,
through the
ma'am.
chair, you say your last name is Costin?
Costin, yes.
Is that a C or?
COS.
Okay,
TIN.
I spelled it right. So I just wanted to know, Mr. Costin, are there any additional cost or anything that increased or any changes that occurred in this new contract?
Through the chair to Councilman Conwell, I do not know what increased. I just know what is invoiced and what we pay. There are Metro representatives here that could answer any questions pertaining to invoices.
Okay, please invite them up.
We have, I believe, Aisha
Metro
and Zach.
rep.
Good afternoon. State your name for the record, please.
Aisha Parnell, Executive Director of Operations for Metro Health Correctional Medicine.
Can you share with us if there's been any increases in this particular contract?
What I can share with you, as previously discussed, is just the overall increase of the healthcare costs. I do not have a specific breakdown for you with those associated fees.
Now, this contract in particular is for the services, it says reimbursement of off-site medical services. So we're talking specifically not what you handle inside
On-site, correct.
the facility, but when they have like emergencies or anything extra that needs to come to your facilities.
That, yes, our off-site facilities, yes, that does not occur at the Cuyahoga County Correction Center.
Okay, so how do we determine that? I know it's kind of, we're trying to get a handle on that of what is sent off site. That includes the emergencies and things like that, right?
Yes.
So, just in my mind, how are you drawing a line if they're inside the jail and they need whatever, the routine, whatever, and then they're transported off-site? How are you guys knowing where to stop that? Like when they enter the door, just help me understand that a little bit.
Okay, so for example, the top 3 reasons that we send patients out are for chest pain, assault, or abdominal pain. Those are things that we can conduct a brief assessment of on site, but those patients may require additional imaging or evaluation by a provider that is at the ED, for example. So we triage the patient, we have a provider assess that patient, and if we are able to provide that care or complete the imaging, then we do that. If not, we send them off-site to have that done.
Okay, so you mentioned two, I didn't hear the third one, chest pain, abdominal pain,
And assault, physical assault. Like if there's an altercation or, yes, those are the top 3 reasons.
So I'm sure you've heard, everyone else has, in terms of that we're planning for the new jail to be built. And so just on some of the tours that some of us have taken, we see various equipment that will actually be on site at, well, was on site at their jail facility. And so I was just trying to get what do we need to have in our new facility going forward so it can help cut down some of those costs. So this helps. So we need x-ray machines.
We have an X-ray machine, but the techs are available Monday through Friday during business hours. So if it occurs after hours, then we send them off-site. We do have limited access to ultrasound for our pregnant women, so we do have those things available. But like a CT scan, MRI, something for someone that had a head injury or something like that, like they have to go off-site for those things.
So I think I had requested before kind of like a breakdown. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Maybe it was a dream that I wanted to. Just a breakdown of the different activities when they leave out for the current individuals that we have in there now, so we could kind of get a guesstimate of what are they seeing on the outside for and seeing what we could add in so they won't have that. So we can
yes.
cut costs,
For sure,
basically.
sure. I provided that information, but I can also, I have a copy
Okay.
of it here for the top 10 reasons. I could provide that to you today also as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Chris, do we have, you've got the 22, 23, and the estimate for going forward on 24. Do we have the amount of runs that were done in each one of those years?
We do have at the office, but not on me right now. We can get
Okay.
that back
Do
to
you,
you.
do you recall if they were steadily going up as prices went up, or are they somewhat stagnant?
I would have to get back to you, but I don't have that information on me. Either Donna or myself would get you.
Okay, because like the Councilwoman said, we find ourselves in between contracts right now, where I'm hopeful that this won't be something on a go-forward basis as far as these cost overruns with these runs from the jail to the hospital. And we're looking at adding a doctor or a physician's assistant that can make these calls as opposed to a nurse, which makes a lot of sense, but we'll see how that comes out. And with, I would assume, ma'am, from Metro, your first name again? Aisha. You would know the amount of runs?
I would. So for 2022, this is just for ED transports, though. This is not for the outpatient appointments. For
Right, yeah, I'm not concerned about that.
Okay, so 2022, there were 885, 2023, 1,005, and through 2024, June 18th, there have been 507 so far.
So probably on that 1,000 mark.
I do want to point out that we have been able to decrease our off-site appointments by having methadone administered on-site.
Right.
So we, we have been able to do that. We also are in the process of posting the 2 nocturnist positions that will cover the 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. and have physicians on-site to assess and help the nursing staff as well.
Right. Hopefully that will help out, but it's of interest to me that we've, with the ankle bracelet program that we have, the amount of people in the jail is lower. Our customers are about the same or a little bit higher, but because of that, it's lower, yet these numbers seem to be increasing. So there's something there that has to be dealt with. And again, I keep telling everyone in 3 whatever plus years when the new jail is functioning, my hope would be the majority of these would be in-house taken care of as far as medical need, and only true emergencies would go out. Because a lot of these I know are not true emergencies. It's just a matter of a medical call. And without a doctor making that call, I don't blame a nurse for putting their, their reputation and career on the line, making the wrong call. And these are above and beyond the contract with Metro every year, right?
That is correct. This is separate from the main contract.
Okay. Is somebody here that's working on the medical contract with Metro from the sheriff's side? No? Who would be handling that?
I could tell you for sure that Brendan Healy and Brendan Doyle has been a part of this, and it is in final review before it goes out to the street, out to bid.
Anybody from the sheriff's office involved in that?
And then the fiscal department, no, but the sheriffs, I'm sure, have been up to date with it.
Okay. All right. Well, unfortunately, we find ourselves in this position again, but it's of our own making for a good portion of it. So, yes, ma'am.
Through the chair, to Mr. Costin or Aisha, are there, this might be a Metro question, I don't know. Are the indigent dollars from our levy subsidy used for these individuals? Because I would consider some of them probably indigent. Okay. I see no from Adam, so, okay, thank you.
That's a good question. Why not? Oh,
Metro Health. So we treat them separate. It's a separate contract. It generally goes ultimately into the same pot, because if they're uninsured, we use the money for uninsured individuals, but we separate it because generally if it's coming through the hospital, we bill differently. We use that subsidy for the uninsured, and then the jail, you guys pay for those particular services because anybody that comes to the jail, those services come back to you, they get billed back to you.
can I follow up?
Sure.
So, to Mr. Winston, so the uninsured pot of money, you have a separate pot for uninsured?
That is
Come
correct.
into Metro,
That is correct.
but you have a different pot of money for the jail entry?
Because the jail is it's a separate agreement, it's
Got
a
it.
separate contract.
Got it.
So anytime someone that comes through that jail service, that's a separate billing. We bill you guys for that particular service, whereas uninsured would come through our main hospital, so that levy money would go towards the uninsured at the main hospital.
So the real question is for fiscal, maybe why aren't the dollars following the individuals who go into the jail and then to Metro? Maybe that's a separate conversation. I understand your setup.
Yeah, well, because it's in our agreement, we have an agreement to take care of those particular services for the jail.
No, I understand Metro, but I'm saying at the county.
Oh, okay.
Maybe we should be looking at, I think what my colleague is thinking about is having our own dollars at the county following the contract through the jail to uninsured inmates who need Metro,
Absolutely.
right?
If we could
Kelly?
look-
And
yeah.
I think that'll bring our costs down.
Yep.
You know, unfortunately, with the jail also, there's so many unpredictables. We don't know how ill a patient is going to be when they come through the jail. Some weekends, you have a busier weekend in Cuyahoga County, so you have more people that are coming through that particular system. So it's so many unpredictables. So I think that also, in terms of like transportation costs, we don't make any money off transportation costs. That whatever the cost is, that's what it costs. I mean, we don't look for these as clients. They're just individuals that happen to be coming through that particular system. So get the concerns, but yeah.
So I think, through the chair, we might have to ask for the breakdown of costs by the inmate. Don't include their names. just so we can look at these. I mean, I get what you're saying, Adam, that they may change. As we move forward, there might be something new that may occur, but we're really, we need all of our community partners to come together. We all need to cut costs.
Absolutely.
Everywhere, so we're just trying to look on our end how we can actually cut down costs since we have this new facility in our future, looking at, the benefit for the county, how we can offset some of these costs.
Yeah, so we did take a look, we did take a look at some of the things that we can improve in terms of the care so that we can decrease transportation costs, make certain we have more equipment locally, so on and so forth. Unfortunately, the building that the jail currently resides in is an older building, so there are some hurdles there. So even if we brought some of that equipment in, it wouldn't be as efficient as it would need to be. And then they didn't anticipate certain things like water and having the right type of water source for people who are on dialysis and so on and so forth. So there are a lot of things that need to be considered when you're doing the new jails to make certain that we can kind of keep those costs in line. But again, the facility would have to be built with that anticipation at the forefront, not afterwards. You can't go back and put new water lines throughout the building. So,
And that goes to another question. Has Metro been included in these conversations while they're moving forward in terms of what's going to go into the jail?
so we haven't had an official. Well, we have had some touch points. We have had some meetings to kind of understand what the needs are, where the areas of opportunities are. But we do need to be more at the table at this particular point so that we can at least make the recommendation. Ultimately, you guys, have the responsibility of making the decision, but we should probably be at the table. And we are. Well, and ongoing, we need to continue to be included in those talks so that we can make certain as we move forward that the jail is equipped with all of the tools that you would need for a healthcare provider.
The chair will follow up on that. make sure that
I've
happens.
actually spoken with the administration on numerous occasions, told them of my concern that Metro or medical professionals at this point really haven't been included. Now, when the planning of the jail was implemented and the committee met and all the things we agreed on, we had experts at the table that were our experts, and their opinions and their wants and needs were put into that plan. It's my understanding that the administration really isn't banking on that plan. Evidently, 4 years of hard work isn't necessarily the right way to go. Maybe, but hopefully they'll change direction, have Metro or some medical professionals at the table, not just somebody that worked in the jail, but somebody that's a physician that understand what the needs are. We did hire those people. We had them as part of the planning. It's in the books. It's what everybody agreed to. We didn't agree on everything, but that committee 100% agreed on everything as far as needs in the jail. And I'm hopeful that doesn't change too radically. But yes, I've had those discussions, and I'll continue to make my feelings known, our feelings known, as far as go forward on the new jail, because now's the time to do it.
Yes.
The planning's being done, and just the instance of having the correct water pressure and availability of that water and pressure available in the facility, it'd be a shame to build it and then come back and find out you got to redo it. So now's the time to do it, and hopefully they're hearing. Well, they're not here, but I'll let them know again of our concerns on the committee here.
Mr. Chair, I was unclear. I heard Mr. Winston say really not at the table, but then I heard another answer that you are at the table.
Come on.
So we Have been invited to participate in the initial planning phases. We've also been invited to, go tour other facilities to see what works well and, bring those ideas back to make sure that we have what we need for the new facility. Those meetings just began, but we have been included and are at the table. Now, to your point of having a physician available, maybe we need to do that as well, but we have had medical presence available at those meetings.
See, the confusing thing for me is, and the frustrating thing for me is, and I keep saying it because unfortunately I had to sit there through all the meetings that we did, this has all been done. We're reinventing the wheel here again. It's just maddening to me. And I will bet, and this is not your fault, I will bet you haven't watched 1 minute of those meetings, which are on our website, that were over a period of close to 4 years. Bet you haven't watched 1 minute of those. And I'll bet they haven't watched 1 minute of those. And yet now we're reinventing the wheel. We're going to Detroit. We're going to Nashville. We're going here. We don't have to go anywhere. It's done. But we're going to reinvent the wheel because evidently we're going to put our own stamp on it. And boy, won't we be great. So if you have some time, I would highly recommend stop by our office. We could give you our booklets and you can go through, see what we did, or view what our experts that we hired and paid handsomely to tell us what we needed. And nobody had a problem back then, but now we're going to see all this stuff. I don't understand. This is done in the books, ready to go. And every month I'll remind the administration and my colleagues, $2 million a month. Till we dig $2 million a month, we're just going right out that window. And it is crazy. So
I'll take you up on that.
I'm trying to get you guys in the room. I mean, it doesn't make any sense, but maybe they have a plan where you're going to come in. I don't know. Again, I don't know what the plan is because I'm not privy to it.
Is anybody here, Mr. Chair, from the administration to speak to these issues? Who's from the jail?
I'm not even certain who from the sheriff's department. I've talked to the sheriff about this, but I'm not even certain that right now that he's been about their space. I know he's been
What
involved
about somebody from the administration here who's dealing with the jail? I think there is someone here. Can you ask?
No, well, that's from the
That's
sheriff.
What
That's the
about
sheriff.
what about over here? Behind Laura. Is that from administration? All sheriff? No.
No, the answer is no, there's no one here. We have Metro here and we have the sheriff here, but we don't
I think
have.
we do have someone from the administration. I'm sorry, and it's, no? Okay.
No,
Okay,
no.
fine. Again,
What we can do, here's what we'll do, because we were going to have the sheriff bring us update, and he couldn't make it today. So in 2 weeks, we'll come back before the break, and we'll go through this again and find out where everybody's at.
sorry to whoever's in the audience. I thought you were with the administration.
Oh, I think we have a
Finally, Mr.
lifeline
Doyle?
in the back. Mr. Doyle is marching to the front like a true wildcat.
What's a wildcat?
St. Ignatius
Okay,
wildcat.
sorry. I'm just messing with you.
You know, I mean, what's a wildcat? I mean, that's -1 there, I think. Mr. Doyle, we've been talking about, as you well know, the contract with the runs, which we understand. And it has bled into the jail and Metro participating in the planning as a go forward. None of us really know what's going on. Do you have any update for, especially Councilwoman Simon has some questions regarding Metro's participation, as I think we all do.
Just to clarify, this is with regard to the jail medical RFP? Okay, yeah, so Metro Health,
The jail build.
Build.
The build.
Broader than the contract.
Oh, the new-
We're good on the contract. It's the go forward build. We're debating up here the concerns of cost overruns, how we're going to knock that down in the new facility, which led to, what do you think about the new facility? And they're somewhat in the dark.
So I can tell you that with regard to the new facility, some of the work that was done by the Justice Center Steering Committee is being utilized in the planning for the new jail. So as we talk about a sort of more robust medical unit, that is part of the planning for the new jail. I think part of that was through prior interviews and consulting with Metro Health staff over the past few years. With regard to over the past 6 months, really it's just been sort of utilizing that work that was done by the Justice Center Steering Committee. With regard to the medical, we have not directly consulted with Metro Health on that yet. We have an RFP that's going to be going out. We anticipate in probably the next couple of weeks for jail medical. And so with regard to some of the, I guess, more specifics with regard to the jail, we aren't there in terms of getting really into the weeds as far as some of the medical unit details, other than to know the general size that I think we're looking at, which I think was part of the work of the steering committee, and to know that we do need a more robust medical unit in the future jail than we have in our current jail, just so we can make sure that there is a reduction in the number of medical transports that are going out.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, you knew they were going out with an RFP to perhaps start privatizing the medical again?
That, yeah, we did an extension
Yeah.
not long ago
Yeah.
so they could prepare the RFP.
Yeah.
And that's a couple weeks out.
That's correct, Mr. Chair. It should be a couple of weeks out. We're just finalizing the details on the RFP itself, and then it should be going public in the next couple of weeks. We've been working with the experts in the jail regarding the medical services, as well as the sheriff fiscal office, to sort of be working through some of those financials to be able to try and put ourselves in a better position than perhaps we've been in over the past few years financially. And so that should be going out in the next couple of weeks. Because with that extension, the Metro Health extension is up at the end of January of 2025. So we will need that RFP to be going out soon.
Okay, thank you. Just a quick question. Have you thought about having somebody sit here through our meetings, so when we have questions, we can have somebody answer them instead of waiting? I guess you guys are watching or somebody tags you. It would be really helpful to have somebody from the administration here at our meetings. It seems a little disrespectful that no one's here, especially in light of the last two executives always had somebody here from the administration to be available to answer questions. And we have to sit here meeting after meeting, asking and hoping somebody actually shows up. I appreciate you being here, but just from my standpoint, this is a change in how we historically have handled a partnership. And it just seems frustrating to me that we have questions time and time again, and we're lucky if we get answers. So I appreciate you coming down, but maybe somebody should be here with answers during the meeting who is working on stuff.
I appreciate that, Councilwoman, and certainly no disrespect is intended. Certainly, having been on the council side, I appreciate that perspective and understand the importance of having somebody here present to be able to answer those questions. Typically, more often than not, that would be me here at the Public Safety Committee meeting.
Right.
And it just wasn't the case today because there was the formal opening of the Northeast Ohio Crime Gun Intelligence Center that the Attorney General Merrick Garland was in for. I was there. That's not a good enough excuse for not being able to answer your questions, but I was able to waddle in here as quickly as I could to be able to answer your questions, and we'll make sure going forward that there is somebody here to answer your questions. I think that even, we've tried to work to answer questions, whether it's in between meetings or we've worked to try to do that. But we will have somebody here at this meeting going forward.
Yeah, thanks. Did you get to meet Mayor Garland?
I did not.
Okay.
No, I did not, but I was able to hear his words and so there's, you know, obviously exciting things with regard to trying to reduce gun violence in not just Cuyahoga County, but also some of the surrounding communities. It's sort of a partnership between ATF and lots of local law enforcement. Euclid Police was there today. It was a really great partnership.
Is there money?
Pardon me?
Is there money and funding?
There is.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, we'll talk later.
No, that's fair. That there is federal funding, and there was a lot of press coverage, so I think you'll be able to see
Okay.
about that as well.
I'm sorry I had to be in here, I guess. So, thanks.
Let me get Mr. Kelly in real quick.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is probably for you, Chris. Could we get a breakdown of costs, medical costs per inmate? I know you can't give names or anything, but,
I'll go back to the office and see what we can get you.
okay, just so we know how much we're paying per inmate for the medical.
Okay, I'll see what I can get you,
Thank you.
and I'll send it through the clerk.
I just asked that, Kelly. Yeah, she has. So,
Yes.
you hear it. We need it. Yes. So glad you're here, Brendan. Just a couple of key points I think you missed. Doctor, to actually be present as one of the medical personnel to come in at those planning meetings so they can give their perspective in terms of how we move forward in the new facility. Aisha had brought that up, that it's really, even though they've been invited, it hasn't been a doctor present. And so maybe from a doctor's point of view, that would be helpful. And then the second big thing that we need to look at, I asked a question, are the indigent dollars that we give to Metro being used for the indigent individuals that are in the jail? And it's not. It's like a separate contract. So we need to follow up with that, maybe with Walter, to see, because it's not on Metro. They have a policy. Why aren't the dollars being used, or the same levy dollars aren't being used for also the individuals that are indigent in the jail?
And I don't know the answer to that question, Councilwoman. I will work with Chris and Donna and Walter to get that answer for you. With regard to the medical expertise, with regard to the medical RFP, we are going to be using a jail medical consultant with regard to the actual selection process, to be able to consult with us, to be able to give us insight and guidance regarding what we need. For the RFP, the creation of the RFP itself, we looked at best practices from other jail medical RFPs, but thought that for the actual selection process, we would bring in a consultant to be able to provide guidance on the medical side of things. So completely understand and hear what you're saying.
Yeah, so also I think the jail medical consultant needs to be privy to what we just asked for, a breakdown of what are the incidences that individuals have to leave off the jail campus to go to the medical facility. So we can have their insight on what machines possibly we may need on site, so we can cut down transportation costs and all these additional charges.
Right, and yes, that's, and I think you and others have seen that even things like dialysis machines in the jail, I think, are critical to cut down on the number of transports that we have to Metro. They would make a huge difference. So completely hear what you're saying.
Thank you.
Just as a follow-up about a consultant, who is this consultant?
We are working with the prosecutor's office on that consultant. I don't have a name for you, but
Working with the prosecutor's office? In what way?
they've been, obviously, they've worked very closely with the county with regard to much of the jail litigation. And so we are working with not just our legal team with the law department, but also our attorneys in the prosecutor's office to work on that jail medical RFP.
And where's the money coming from to pay for a consultant?
Again, no consultant has been formally selected. That would have to go before either this body or the Board of Control. And so, but that is the plan for once the RFP does go out, for there to be a consultant. I can't speak to the financials. I'd be happy to get an answer for you, working with the Sheriff's Department. But we thought it would be in the best interest of protecting the county in selecting a medical provider for the jail that we bring in a consultant.
I'm not sure why, but that seems a little over the top considering all the work that's been done. I'll let the chair follow up.
I thought with Jeff Applebaum's group, we had consultants and experts.
I'm not aware of medical consultants on Jeff Applebaum's team. They would be construction, but not medical.
There was an RN who was part of their team who was their expert in building many other jails and especially in the psychological services. So these were seasoned professionals that guided the committee. And like I was telling him before he got here, all of this information is in place. It seems like we're rebaking a cake here. I know you disagree.
I think we were using the work that was done by the steering committee to inform some of the planning that is going on right now. Again, I feel like we are at the beginning stages of that planning, and all of the work that was done by the steering committee is informing that planning.
I know.
I don't know. I'm
go
just
ahead.
very frustrated.
So I just have a follow-up on this consultant. So the RFP is going to be prepared independent of the medical consultant, or is the medical consultant going to be involved in the prep in terms of the RFP?
The RFP will be and is being developed independent of any medical consultant.
Shouldn't the medical consultant be a part of that if we're seeking particular parameters and planning with regard? It seems like those should be together, but that's all.
I don't think so. I don't think so. But as far as the jail facility itself, clearly we need somebody in a chair that's going to be making some calls here, because we've heard of all the unfortunate bad buildings and things that have to be redone. We're just trying to save some money here. And it would be helpful, and I don't know who you're dealing with the council, but they're not sharing information with this committee, I can tell you that. So I would hope that we'd be at least briefed eventually as to where we're at, because we're left to guess.
And fully appreciate that. And in fact, we are working with council staff to schedule dates to start briefing council members in July on the status of the jail planning, and to hear council members' thoughts and concerns and be able to move forward with all of that feedback.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chair, to Mr. Doyle, I think that currently where we sit, I think the jail medical consultant, hopefully you've gotten someone that has actually worked with Metro or something like that, because they're our current provider. They're providing our medical care right now. So I think that it doesn't mean that they will in the future, I understand that, but they have a close view of what's actually going on in there and what is needed. So that's kind of my recommendation if you're looking for a jail medical consultant, someone that knows the policies and what's being done now. I mean, Metro has been with us for years.
Well, July's upon us, so I guess we'll be briefed in July. let's wait for those briefings, and then we'll go from there.
Just one follow-up,
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Chair. I just hope that Metro is not being iced out, of this new jail discussion, and that's all.
Metro Health is a partner with the county and is not being iced out of anything. I promise you,
Okay.
Councilwoman, I promise.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Anything further? Aisha, if you could do me one favor, if you could share, because I'm hearing information from both sides, could you share with the Sheriff's Department the transport, the number of transport, and the reason for transport with them? And then could I get, this committee get a report on those transports monthly? I don't necessarily need the cost of that, just the amount of transfers and what they're going for. I think that would be helpful for us to have that information moving forward. Okay? Chris, anything else? Anything else for Chris? Okay, and looking at the dates, I'm assuming you want to move this forward.
Yes, please.
If everyone's comfortable with Resolution 2024-0241, I'll accept a motion to the full council under second reading suspension.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Thank you. Thank you very much. 2024-0242.
Resolution number 2024-0242, making an award on requisition number 14199 in the amount not to exceed $875,000 for furnishing uniforms for correction officers, corporals, sergeants, and lieutenants.
Good afternoon. Chris Costin, Sheriff's Department. Before you is a request to enter in a not-to-exceed contract with Galls. Like the clerk said, these are for the uniforms for correction officers, corporals, sergeants, and lieutenants. This was done through an RFP. Excuse me. We received 2 bids. Galls was the lowest bid at an average cost of $1,371 per uniform. Second lowest bid, and the only other bid came in at $1,945 a uniform. Thank you.
Questions? Yes, sir.
Who was the other bidder?
That'd be Schwartz Uniform.
Okay. Do you ever talk to Shuttler's Uniform?
I don't talk to them personally. I believe our captains and lieutenants have, because that name's been brought up through my desk. But, when we went out to bid, we didn't receive a bid from them.
Okay. One other question, please. Does this include the stab-proof vests? that
No,
were
this
authorized?
is different from the vest. That's another contract that we have.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And is this, when's the last time we did a contract like this?
We are just now, Schwartz has the current contract that's ending at the end of this year. So we went out to bid for another 3-year contract.
3.
3 years.
Great, okay. Anything further? Again, looking at the timeline, although we have time on this, so this can go 3 readings.
That is correct.
Okay. I'll accept a motion to move 2024-0242 to the full council for second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Thank you. We'll talk to the sheriff in 2 weeks. He was traveling today. Miscellaneous business? Anything?